have we here? You heard my call. You're imbalanced, Swampy.
How would it Swampy looking for Starfruit? It calls to you.
Hello, explorers, and welcome to episode 14 of Explore the Force. This week I have Jimmy, the old guy Jedi, with me. How you doing, Jimmy?
Howdy. I'm good. How are you?
I am good, and I am tired as I'm in total comfy clothes right now because we'll get into it later, but comfy clothes. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, and Jack is out this weekend taking care of some family business. But don't worry, he'll be back soon, guys. Let's jump into our Force encounters. What about you, Jimmy? You go first.
Yeah. Well, I had two. I think I was thinking about them today. I think it's what we usually end up doing is thinking about them the day of. Like, what did we do? Star Wars. And I was like, we've had a hectic week. Upstairs right now is a young lady from France who has traveled for whatever hours. She's passed out. So we were doing tons of stuff this week, getting ready for her. But I did take some time, and I got to do an interview on like Wednesday or Thursday with Martin Mead, also known as Meado. We'll be putting that out. Talk about some of the stuff he's doing. So that was really fun. I'm excited to get that edited and out for everybody to see. And then I started my work. We've been doing this show, and I've wanted to do a like Star Wars in the real world kind of stories, and just do something as a history teacher. I like the history and the lore. And so I started working on the wolves. Dave Filoni's attachment to the wolves. He's got the Loth wolves, and then of course we've got all this stuff coming out about Hati and Balin Skrull being Norse gods of wolves, and then some other stuff. So I'm trying to bring that together, do like a little 15-20 minute video about the culture, bringing together like Native American, Norse culture, and how it's all worked in its way through Star Wars, starting with like Commander Wolf and the Wolf Pack, and how they, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, so how about you, Taylor? Sounds like from what you've told us, you've had quite the Star Wars weekend almost. So
I did. I got invited to a Star Wars camp. So it was like a whole weekend party. Unfortunately, I work on weekends because I work at an entertainment place. So I could only go at night. But so it was a friend of mine who has a house right on the lake in Silvermere, 10 minutes away from my house. Well, actually like 11. And he invited all of his 501st Garrison, Outer Rim Garrison, just in case you guys don't know, and a lot of the Rebel Legion members as well. And a lot of these Garrison members are also a part of the Bucketheads films that you can find on YouTube, and they're actually really good. These guys care so much about these films, and they love Star Wars, and it's like movie quality. Like it's actually really great. I really suggest looking it up. I'll put the link on our pages on our socials. But I got to talk to a whole bunch of Star Wars nerds all weekend, and it was so much fun. We were talking. There was people who had just got back from the Star Cruiser, and like I was hearing about all their experiences. Yeah, and like the storylines are so crazy. And like one of their roommates was like on the other side of like the rebellion, and they were all on the Empire side because they're like the 501st, and so of course the resistance wins or whatever at the end. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I don't even know the storyline, but so I got to hear about that for like 3 hours minimum, which was awesome. I got to talk to people who went to Star Wars Celebration. And they're like, "Were you there?" I'm like, "No, virtually." Yeah, so I got to talk to everybody about every kind of Star Wars I could think of. And there was a moment where I was just sitting by the fire and we're up against the lake and it's like crickets and not to mention mosquitoes, but we'll forget about that. And I'm just sitting there and I just kind of look up at the sky and I can hear all these different conversations going on and all of them are a different Star Wars conversation. And I was like, these are my people. Like this is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah, sounds.
And it's so funny because I showed up not knowing anybody except for one person. And everyone's like, who do you know here? I'm like, one person. But by the end of it, we were all vibing pretty good, and we ended up staying up till like 3 o'clock in the morning around this fireplace with like comfy blankets, and we were just talking about like the Rebel Legion and like different things that they've done for charity stuff and just all these great stories. It was so fun. And oh, and I was told to mention Scott Brammer because he said that if I didn't mention him, that he was going to hunt me down. And I don't know. But I mentioned you. You are now an explorer. Oh, and you know what? I actually also met the Generation X Wing podcast guys. I met Rob and Jamie. And I don't know if you guys have ever
Very
listened to
cool.
their podcast or watched their podcast on YouTube. They have all the steps on how to get into the 501st on these YouTube videos, and it's great. It gets a lot. It helps a lot of people get into the 501st, and they have a great community over there. And they're right around me, which I. It's cool that people. I got to talk to somebody about all of our podcast problems and like struggles because it's not easy to do a podcast, right? And it was just nice to chat with
No, it
like-minded
has.
people. It
That
was
sounds like
really
a
great.
great weekend.
Oh, it was crazy, and like the
Very
food was
cool.
amazing and stuff. Oh, so fun, and people camped out. It was great. Uh, Thanks for including me, guys.
All right. Well, it sounds like we both had some great weekends and lots of Star Wars stuff happening.
We're both tired.
Because Jack's already a part of the 501st, right?
Yeah,
The
I was
UK
telling them.
garrison. So it sounds like you're probably on your way to becoming a member eventually.
Oh, well,
So
I
maybe we
told my
can.
story
We,
about how I landed a plane in a plane lesson on grass, and then from then on, they're like, you're the pilot. So I'm like, okay, I'm gotta get working on my flight suit.
get your Bodhi, your Bodhi Rook cosplay.
Yeah,
So
I'm the
very.
pilot. Brought the
I'm
message.
the pilots. Yeah. So, man, it sounds great. It's awesome. It's always fun. I know you haven't got to go to Celebration yet, but that Celebration in a nutshell, plus lots of cool stuff. So I'm really excited for you to have had that experience. We've had tons and tons of news, so why don't we head over to Batu and see what's happening there?
So SAG-AFTRA doesn't seem to be getting any closer to a resolution, Jimmy.
No, I know we've talked about this, and I think most podcasts are talking about this now. Obviously, we support the actors and we support the writers. Doesn't we're obviously not big enough to make a dent, but there's a lot of people out there who are part of this, and there's all these different rules and stuff they have to follow. And I think you know, it kind of comes down to getting a fair wage. And I know it was kind of crazy. One of the reasons we put this on here this week was Sean Gunn, who is obviously the brother of James Gunn. So Sean Gunn is the actor in Guardians of the Galaxy's movies. He's been in some of the
Yeah.
Avengers films, and then his brother, of course, is now heading up DC, but did all the Guardians movies. And he absolutely annihilated Bob Iger on social media, talking about how he's making 400 times what like the lowest person makes. And there's lots of emotions and there's lots of feelings back and forth. I do hope this gets resolved, but yeah, this is kind of getting. I didn't think it would be. I didn't think it was going
On
to
this
take this
one.
long, but now it looks like it's going to take a while. And I know we've talked about it here a few times over the last couple of weeks, and it's become more and more of the conversation on lots of podcasts and TV shows that we listen to. But there are going to be some ramifications down the road as far as productions and shows that we get to see. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
they're not
Hopefully they
joking
get.
around.
No, I don't think, and they should. They're from the sounds of it. And like I said, we're not experts, and we're not really in that industry. Um, but it just sounds like the actors, not the actors, mostly, and the screenwriters are just really not really getting a fair deal, and so hopefully they can get some stuff worked out, and you know, everyone can be happy with the solution, and we can move forward, and we can get back to making movies and doing all that good stuff. Because it is kind of weird not seeing, like right now, the lead up to, and what kind of leads us into our next topic is Ahsoka, right? Like Rosario and all those other people, they should be out there doing tons of press. We should be talking about Good Morning America and all this stuff, and all these different things, and we're not talking about any of it. And
Yeah.
in your next piece of news, we got what, 2 or 3 different teaser trailers this week because of it. So that's like Disney trying to make up for not having the press junkets.
Yeah. Well, think about it. When Obi-Wan was coming out last summer, every single news article was something Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. Like, think about it. We don't have half of that stuff going
Yeah.
on with Ahsoka. I'd never even thought about that until
Well,
you
we
just
don't.
said that right now. Holy crap.
Yeah, yeah, we don't have any of it. So that's the thing too. Is they're talking about, are they going to start pushing shows back and things like that, because shows and movies, are they going to start pushing them back because a lot of times that press, they go on Jimmy Kimmel, they go on Jimmy Fallon. I don't know who is famous in Canada. They go on Graham Norton
Thanks.
in England. Um,
No, it's mostly over
they
there.
go on these big pop. So, but they're not doing that right now. So I'm just kind of curious as how this is gonna fix itself. But yeah, so like I said, we got 2 new trailers. I think you're going to talk about those. So why don't we dive into that?
Yeah. Ahsoka had 2 new teaser trailers come out. A lot of the footage is the stuff that we've already seen, but the first one that I watched, it's called Now or Never is the title of it, and it's got new footage. It does. It's like longer clips of the ones that we've already seen. Like, it's getting into it. You see more of the Inquisitor. Like, oh yeah. That one's like only 46 seconds long, I think. Watched that like 6 times in a row to see if I could spot anything. And there is lots of stuff, but I'm like, we already ripped into the other one. Let's just let people rip into these themselves. And the next one that came out is about, I think it's like exactly a minute or something like that. And it's called Master and Apprentice. And these are on the Star Wars YouTube channel. And it's seriously tugging at the heartstrings. It's got like Anakin, and it's showing all of the different masters and apprentices of like Star Wars. Then again, it's not any new footage that we haven't seen yet, like you were saying. So it's like they have to make some content for us to be grabbing at while we wait for Ahsoka, right? So this is what they've done, and you know what? I did like it. I liked it. There's like, I love the Anakin, the Obi-Wan. There's like Ahsoka's there, like from previous, like, and then they have little clips from the trailers now with Sabine and Ahsoka. So it's like, it's like they've literally just compared Ahsoka and Sabine to other Master and Apprentice Jedi. So she's
That's
training to be a Jedi. That's confirming it right there. Am I
that's
right?
what I was going to ask you. If Well, that's what I wanted to ask. When I saw that, I was wondering, like, are they just trying to like make us think one thing, they're going to go another way? But that the one called Masters and Apprentices, that one was really good. That's like one of the first times too I've seen, like, you've got Rey, you've got
Yes, he was
you
in
got all the
it.
trilogy characters,
Leia.
prequel killer characters, the OT, and then you've got the stuff coming around it. You got Rebels. I mean, it was pretty cool to see all this different stuff kind of put together. But do you think
Yeah.
that does that short trailer solidify the craziness that is Sabine is force sensitive, or is that just, hey, we're messing with people for 2 more weeks until the show starts?
I don't know. Like, you can't really be a Jedi unless you're force sensitive, right? But that day, like that time in the galaxy, there isn't a whole lot of force sensitive people out because Inquisitors have been hunting them down. This is all force users, not just Jedi. So, which
Yeah.
So it's like it's the jug is getting low on the force sensitive right now. So maybe she did try to train Sabine just in really skilled combat, and but then there's like that scene where her hands out. So I don't know if they switch it around.
Yeah,
So
it'll
it's
be it'll
nothing,
be
and she,
interesting.
yeah, I'll be a little bit upset if they like, haha, we fooled you. She just called her master once, like or something, just as a joke. Like I don't know. We'll see. But they also announced the
Yeah.
runtime of the first two episodes that are going to be releasing, and it's what an hour and 36 minutes for both of them because we're obviously going to watch them back to back, right? Which is so cool.
Oh
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, it's going to be so good. And you
Yeah.
know what? When they
Yeah.
released the two at a time like they did with like Andor and stuff, so good. It gets you hooked, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think, and that runtime, I mean, 45, if you just take the average of like 46, 48 minutes apiece,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there were, other than like the opening of Mandalorian season 2, if there's an episode that's that long. So that's pretty exciting. Dave must have a lot that he wants to do and a lot of story he wants to tell. I hope the pacing's good, you know, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited for it, except for the fact that we will be doing uh, review shows on Wednesdays, hopefully, but I'll have to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning on the 23rd to get an hour and a half in before I go to school. So that'll be super exciting. Um,
Well,
I used to do that anyways because I want to avoid spoilers and things like that. Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
because
no,
all
that's
of our
pretty
friends are
cool,
like nine
pretty
hours ahead of
exciting.
us.
Yeah, Jack will be waiting for us to wake up, and he'll be chomping at the bit. What are you guys doing? Wake up!
Get
So,
the hell
but
up.
yeah, we'll get that, and it'll be some early Wednesday mornings coming up. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the time. The more Star Wars, the better. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so it'll be great.
well, it's gonna be
And I
so
think there was
good.
some, yeah,
Oh, and
moving away from the TV shows, and I know. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, Entertainment Weekly released some new photos of the Ahsoka. Just while we're on Ahsoka, we shared them on the Facebook page and
Oh, that's right.
Instagram as well. So there's a couple of good ones, and I think Jake Crafton posted one and was like, "What would you do if there's just two people fighting?" It's like,
Oh yeah.
run. I don't know. So I was like, "Oh, new photos."
Yeah, those are the
Come
ones. Some of those stills that people think it's Jason Sindula in the passenger seat or co-pilot seat, possibly that view of the ghost coming around. Just lots
on.
of good stuff, man. I'm excited. I wonder if too. One last thing is like, are we going to get more than normal because they don't have the people out on, but they can't give the story away. They still got to keep our interest. So I wonder if we're just going to get a slow leak of information, photos, little snippets until right into um, August 23rd or something because they don't have actors and people out there talking about the shows. So
That
should be
sucks.
interesting. We'll keep an eye on it. But yeah.
Ugh.
Um, yeah, moving on to some other stuff too. We've got Marvel Comics Dark Droids. If you're on the YouTube channel, you can see the cover. Uh, Supposedly, okay, so this says, all right, Dark Droids this summer's comic crossover epic brings up the following events of Star Wars Hidden Empire, in which Kira attempted to use an ancient device to disrupt the Sith's powers. She failed, and she may have unleashed something. I had no idea that this was, that's a 5-story comic, The Hidden Empire. So I've
Yeah.
got those. I haven't read them yet. I've got like 100 comics I've got to read. But I will read those next week for archives. That way I can understand what's going on with Dark Droids. And then,
Yeah.
because I wasn't real like thrilled about like, oh, Dark Droids, yay. But
It was like horror, though. I
it's
was like,
written by Charles Soule. Well, yeah, it's what it says here. It says something about horror on here, I think. Um, but yeah, Charles Soule and artist Luke Ross. So it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to diving into that
yeah.
and getting into the comics. But I do struggle sometimes being up to date with the comics. So
I've
We'll
got
see what
this
happens.
like fat
Hopefully one of us will have read it. Oh, I don't even want to show you. I have 3 or 4 comic boxes down here, and
comic
just
boxes.
stacked on top before I put them in there. So yeah, it's brutal.
And that is our news this week. But Jimmy, are you ready? Are you ready to explore the Force?
I am. This is a fun topic I think we have this week. So yeah, I'm excited to dive into this. I think you reported last week that giantfreakingrobot.com said that Keanu Reeves has filmed a scene for the upcoming Star Wars Acolyte series. Now, before we
Again.
freak out and lose our marbles, because we kind of did last week, when I first saw this article, I had seen things where like the source was like good source and all this stuff. And then I was watching something the other day, and someone blasted Giant Freaking Robot for not being very accurate. So I'm like, oh no. But it doesn't really stop us from talking about what we want to talk about. And so, like I said last week, Taylor, you talked about this in our news segment, and this got me to thinking. And I think I brought this up this week. Who would we like to see in Star Wars? We're all reading the books, we're watching the shows, we different things like that, and so we put it out on the socials, and we got some uh, pretty interesting feedback, I think, from some different people.
Yeah.
Some of the explorers. The first one I'll do, Jamie Richards. He says Neil Mascow. Now, I had to look some of these people up, I'll be honest. I didn't know a lot of these people. But it's kind of the fun of this is because, we're looking people up that we don't know, and then you see them, and you're like, oh, that guy looks like an officer or whatever.
Yeah, I'm
But
like,
Neil
damn, look at that
Mascow,
guy.
yeah. Jamie says Neil Mascow, I think that's how you pronounce it, Maskell, as a rebel officer. He is famous for being in Hijack and Peaky Blinders. So that's some Hijack's a new show on Apple TV, I think. And then, of course, Peaky Blinders is that awesome show on Netflix. So, but yeah, looking at him, I see it. That'd be pretty cool.
I could totally see it. I definitely I didn't know who this Neil Mascot character was. I'm like really bad with names, and you guys will find that out. Show me someone's picture, and I'll be like, oh yeah, but names, no, over the head. But yeah, like I just looked at this guy. I'm like, oh my god, look at that guy. Like he's totally a rebel. Like you can just tell. I don't know. He's got like a little bit of red in his like beard, like. Our
Absolutely.
next one. Oh, Jamie Richards also said Alan Ford as a Jedi, like an older Jedi, wise
Yeah,
wisdom.
yeah. Taylor's not kidding about the photo thing. She went through our show notes, and she put in photos of everybody. It
I
does help,
did.
though. I had to look him up for the same reasons, but yeah, he looks like he could be like maybe even an old war general for for the Empire too. But yeah, he could be an old. I think he could probably play either. But he's from the movie Snatch. I think it was that Brad Pitt back in like the early 2000s or something. That's like his big thing on
Yeah.
here. Um,
Yeah.
Jamie had a bunch. He had Ray Winstone. He also says no stupid accent. I'm assuming he means the accent that he used in Indiana Jones and a Crystal Skull, which was not good. He's also been in The Departed. He was in The Black Widow. This guy does look like he could play anything in Star Wars and probably get away with it.
It's
Good
just
guy, bad guy, smuggler, scoundrel.
yeah. We got a lot of suggestions from Jake Crafton, but we got okay. So we have a chat group that you guys should join if you're listening to us, and then we can all chat about stuff. Um, and Jake suggested John Krasinski, and I instantly think of Jim from The Office. I'm like, oh, but then he's like, no, Jack Ryan version. It's like, oh yes,
Wow.
as Kanan Jarrus. Oh, I see it.
I personally don't see that one,
I
right?
do.
I know Jack said he goes back and forth on it, but I do see him in Star Wars being like, because I mean, the dude's a great action stuff. I mean, the Jack Reacher, or not Jack Reacher, sorry, the Jack Ryan stuff,
Yeah,
his all of his action movies he's been part of, he has definitely gotten away from being
the
Jim
funny.
from The Office. But yeah, I
Yeah.
can definitely see him being in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Well, he was in A
So,
Quiet Place
uh,
too, and he was so good in A Quiet Place. Well, not talking,
oh
but
yeah, well yeah,
oh, God, that
yeah, in
movie was
that with his
good.
wife. I'd like to
Yeah.
see her in Star Wars. Emily Blunt,
Yes. Didn't
she'd
somebody
be
say that?
awesome.
One of our followers said Emily
I
Blunt, and I
feel
was
like
like, yes.
we in our group chat on Facebook, I think we were talking about that, and I brought up because he brought up Krasinski, and I'm like, oh, what about Blunt? Like, she'd be an awesome because she's pretty good action star as well. Also from The
Yeah.
Quiet Place and some other things like that.
Yeah.
Um, he also brought up Jake also brought up Alan Rickman, rest in peace. But Alan Rickman would be awesome. That's of course Professor Snape,
Snape.
or famous
Oh,
from uh, Die Hard villain, you know. But he would be awesome. He's awesome in everything he's in. So I could imagine that would have been a great get for Star Wars if they were making movies back in the day. So
yeah, but
I
that's the
think
thing about
is
Star
that
Wars.
everybody from.
We have more, but if we didn't read your guys' comments or your suggestions, keep trying because we'll get you guys next time. Don't worry. We don't always talk about Jake. Oh god, here we go. Now I'm mixing everybody up. This is how tired I am.
There you go. Yeah.
Well,
All right.
who did
Well,
you
let's.
think was going to be who would you like to see in Star Wars?
Well, the first one, I was just kind of looking at stuff, and the whole idea of this got to start was Keanu Reeves, and he's been linked to like Darth Revan and some other characters for a long time, like fan cast, kind of like. But it worked for Ahsoka, right? People were doing artwork of Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka for years, and she became it. Um, but Keanu
Yeah.
Reeves, I think, would be. He does all the samurai stuff that he's in, action stuff that he's in. He would be phenomenal. Good guy, bad guy, Jedi, Sith, bounty hunter, you name it, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
strong silent type.
Can you imagine if they actually went
So
with all the fans being like, "You need Keanu," and then they get him in as like some like drunken like pilot or something so out of character. Oh my gosh! Like he's in it. I'd still be happy with that though.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it would be cool. I mean, you'd be wasting, yeah, but it would be kind of like, hey, we did it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Just one
but
of those like little.
my next one is a personal favorite of mine. One Miss Kate Beckinsale. I've uh, I've been a fan since the Underworld series. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but she's a pretty good action star. She's vampire hunter running around.
Yeah.
She's kind of stuff. I remember watching a behind the scenes of the first Underworld and how she learned how to fire a gun without blinking. So she was like a stone cold dealer of death,
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
that just kind of won me over. Like she was that into it. Um, but I think she'd be a great Jedi or an awesome Sith. Just good action star, good acting. She can do action, so that'd be pretty cool.
She's got a pretty good
Um,
face.
yeah, she's not ugly. They'd probably put her in like damn helmet or something, right? Give her
Yeah,
like
right.
she'd be like Zori Bliss. She'd be like Zori Bliss's sister.
Yeah.
Put the helmet on her.
Like
So
what they did
I
with
also put
Phasma.
oh yes, I put Charlize Theron for the same reason. Just another actress that can or actor that just she's all of her action stuff she's in. She was in the Netflix The Old Guardian. There's the Old Guard. She's really good in that, of course. But I think she could do Sith really, really well. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Was it some kind of like was it Snow White or Sleeping Beauty or something with like Chris
No,
Hemsworth,
the
where she's like an evil
Huntsman.
queen.
Yeah, was it like the
Yeah, that's it.
Huntsman or
That's it.
something?
Because that
Yeah.
was like a prequel to the. But anyways, I think she was like awesome in that. So she'd be like a really cool Sith or like female emperor, an empress or something like that, like trying to
Yeah.
take over. And my last one is kind of a weird one, but before, of course, now we know who Thrawn's gonna be. But you ever watch the TV show, The Blacklist? Do
No,
they
I
have?
haven't.
Do
I
you
haven't
guys
actually
you guys
watched
watch that?
it.
Has there's this guy in it, and he has this really calm demeanor. Even all of his actions show it's a detective show. It's like about the FBI, I think. There's this guy Diego Klattenhoff. He's actually Canadian, I believe,
Oh,
and he always has this really calm demeanor in all of his actions. And I remember telling my wife one time, I'm like, he would be a great Thrawn. I could see he has a look. I mean, if you don't know who he is, Diego Klattenhoff from The Blacklist, and just you put him in some blue makeup, give him red eyes, and his voice, without him even trying, is like real calm and kind of rational. I thought he would have been a great Thrawn. Obviously, it's not going to happen, but I think he would have done a really good job. It would have been cool to see, but I'm sure that Mickelson's going to do a fabulous job.
yeah, I think he's gonna prove
So that's kind of
everything
my
wrong.
rundown. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of actors and actresses and stuff like that. I guess they're just actors now. Sorry, I'm showing my age. But yeah, but those were the ones that just kind of, when I asked myself those questions, those are the ones that popped into my head. So, what about you, Taylor? I know I see your list here. You got some good ones on here.
Yes. Okay. So first off, I have always said that Idris Elba would be amazing in Star Wars. So you, if you guys have seen Thor, he's like the gatekeeper in Thor. He even has like the yellow eyes, which is like cool. He was just recently in The Suicide Squad. Super gory, super gory. But he's such a good actor. Gosh, I would love to see him at not even like a Sith, but just a dark side user, like someone calm and trained. Like he's I love him so much. But I think he would do really good in Star Wars. And then you know what? I think it was actually confirmed that he is in Star Wars. But I've said this for so long, and I think he's in something coming up. I should have looked this up better, but I think it was confirmed that he's going to be in like the Acolyte or something like that. I was like, oh my god, I called it
He's
for
going to do like
years.
yeah, he would be awesome. I remember I got the TV show Luther from over in the BBC, where he's a
Yeah.
detective. Guy's a great actor. He's a really good action star. He's been in Star Trek, I believe. And of course, he's in
Has he?
Marvel. So,
Oh yeah, he totally has.
and he's
Oh,
also in the Fast and the Furious series,
the
I think.
Hobbs and Shaw. He is in.
Yeah, that's
If
it.
you consider that
That's all
still, I guess it's still Fast and Furious.
one big franchise, right?
Yeah,
So,
Charisse
yeah, he'd be
Theron is
great.
in it too. Is in the Fast and Furious stuff too, and she's pretty good in that too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So who else I thought would be really good? I don't even know why this character or this guy popped into my head, but Dev Patel. He was the young scientist in the movie Chappie that came out a few years ago. He was a
that was a
British
really good movie.
actor, so good, right? And I don't know.
Yeah,
I really liked his character, and he's just so unique. And like you look at him now, he's got like longer hair, whatever. You can make it. You can cut your hair and change your hair for whatever role you want to. But
kind of looks
I
like
just,
Ezra.
yeah. Can you? No, we know who was playing Ezra, but
Well, I'm
he could
saying,
do
but
it.
I'm like, he looks like, yeah,
He
could be like
could do
a
it.
long lost brother or a second cousin once removed.
Yeah, right. I think he would be like
I
like
think
a good Jedi. Yeah.
yeah, or even science. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that movie. He was pretty good in that as well. He was a really good actor, strong actor. He definitely has a look to him that you could see him being like some kind of, really anything. That's the cool thing about Star Wars too, though, is like you could just plop down somebody and you can just make them. They can become who they want to be, and that's pretty awesome. And you
Yeah,
have a stunt lady here next. That's a cool
I
one. Very
do.
cool.
Oh my gosh. If you guys have not heard of Michelle C. Smith, look her up right now. Pause the YouTube and check her out. She is a stunt woman and a professional stunt woman and fight coordinator, and she does a whole bunch of lightsaber tutorials on how to do all these different maneuvers with your lightsaber. She does this with staff, different weapons. She is so cool, and she is right down in Vancouver, which is like 2 hours away from me on a slow traffic day. And she teaches these staff spinning, classes, and they're not even like crazy expensive. And I was thinking of doing one this summer, but that was when I was off work and it was a long drive, so I was like, oh. But next time she holds the
Huh.
classes, I'm totally going. But watch
You
some
need
of
to
her
go and
clips.
do the
She's
class.
super cool. How cool would that be? I'd be like, please help me. I don't know how to hold this, but show me your wisdom. Like, so she's pretty cool,
You
and
could
she
call her
is.
master.
I would. I literally would. And she's got this thing going right now where she's trying to get into Star Wars to be Ventress, a Saj Ventress, and
Oh,
she would be so
that would
good.
be.
And she can cosplay in it, and she can do double sabers like nobody's business. She can flip a TV remote around in her hand like I've never seen. And I'm just like, you're amazing. And I think her like thing is that she's a professional badass is her like logo, which it's true. So check her out, Michelle, if
I
you
would
actually listen to us.
love.
Oh,
That would be nut. I never have thought of an Asajj Ventress. Like that's a hard one to picture in my mind because you're like looking at the photo here, and people will put some links and things like that. But she's got this long flowing hair, you know. But
yeah.
yeah, seeing
She
Ventress live
actually just
action would be crazy.
Yeah, but she actually just got a haircut and it's shorter and it looks super good on her. And I know she was like debuting in. She's like, "This is how I feel so great." And it was like, you know what? You can tell by how like her new videos of her with her new haircut is like she's like glowing. But
I'm gonna have to
I
check
love her
this
so
out.
much. I've
I
posted about her
think I know who
before
you're
on my
talking about. Like, I think
personal.
it. Well, I probably have seen it then if you've posted it before, but I'm definitely going to
Yeah.
check that out. That's something we'll have to maybe very cool. I would love to see. Did you read what's the story with her and why can't I think of their name? It's the love story with her in it and
Oh,
Quinlan Voss, Dark
Yeah, Quinlan.
Disciple.
Yeah, no, I haven't read that
I
one
would love
yet.
to see. Oh, you need to read that. You'll love it. It was really good. But she's like her and Quinlan and some other people in it, and Dooku and some other stuff. It is a great story. I'd love to see. It was supposed to be a series arc in Clone Wars, from my understanding, and
Yeah.
then of course they got rid of Clone Wars, and then so they made it into a book called Dark Disciple. But yeah, you should check that out. And after you read that book, you're definitely going to want this lady to be Asajj. Very cool.
Oh my God. Michelle, we support you.
100%. So lastly, and of course, we got our wheels spinning with all these actors, and it's kind of hard sometimes because we're like, well, who would they play and what would they be? And right now, obviously, the big initiative from Lucasfilm and Lucas Publishing and all that, and Disney Publishing is the High Republic, and we're obviously big fans of the High Republic content on this show. I would say that all three of us, and then of course we had Johnny in here last week, and um, but so I'm on a couple different Facebook groups, and one of the ones is called the High Republic Facebook group. It has about 600 or 700 people on it. There's another one I didn't realize I was part of. You know how it is with Facebook; you just join groups and you don't necessarily know you're part of them.
Yeah.
Um, but I had a couple people. I asked this morning actually, hey, if they were going to bring these books to live action, who would you want to play your favorite characters, villains and stuff? So we got some good ones. Um, Anakin Crispin, I don't know, he said David Harbour as Porter Angle or the Blade. So David
Ooh.
Harbour is what's that show on Stranger Things? I think he's famous from
Yeah.
Stranger Things. He's the Russian version of Captain America and the Black Widow. He's in that new Gran Turismo movie. So I kind of, at first I was like, huh? Then I was like, man, you put those like horns, like shaved off horns. Cause I kind of thought of like,
Uh,
for Porter Angle, kind of like, who's the guy who played Hellboy the first time?
yeah, I was gonna say
You know what I'm
Hellboy.
talking about?
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, the guy that kind of looks like Hellboy.
Yeah.
So
Oh
I
my
cannot,
gosh.
Ron Perlman. I'm a huge Sons of Anarchy fan. I can't believe I forgot that. Ron Perlman uh, would be pretty badass as Porter Angle, or also known as the Blade.
Mm.
Um, Taylor, have you met Marcion Rowe yet? I know you're reading Light of the Jedi. Have you gotten to the point where he's been introduced yet?
No, I got to the part where they just realized that there's people in the falling
Oh,
things.
okay.
That's
All
where I've
right.
gotten
Um,
because I was reading the Red Blade guys, Inquisitor.
oh yeah. Um, it's Anakin also said, it's funny saying Anakin. Anakin also said that Jared Leto
Sick
to play
name.
Marcion. Think a little bit older than I picture Marcion Rowe being or Marcion Rowe being, but I do see it's kind of this weird, like, almost like not quite as insane as his Joker
Yeah,
character, and hopefully better than Morbius. But I could see that. That wouldn't be too bad.
yeah. I feel like
That's harsh because
charismatic could
you
do it.
haven't met Markion, but
Yeah,
he can. Yeah, he can do a lot. I know people give him a hard time, but I think he does all right. And then these last two you'll know because you know Avar Chris. So Anakin
yeah.
also said Hannah Waddingham, who is obviously famous for Ted Lasso, being Rebecca on Ted Lasso, the owner of the Richmond Greyhounds, right? Greyhounds, I believe. I love that show. I should know these things. So I thought she'd be pretty good as well. And then also Catherine Winnick, a person named Lighten Up Bro. That's a fun
Lighten up,
uh, moniker.
bro.
But Lighten Up Bro, he says he thinks that Catherine Winnick as Avar Chris, and I had to look her up, and she's from the TV show Vikings,
Oh,
and I was like, oh yes, he put some Jedi High Republic robes on her, put her hair braided up, give her a
yeah, right.
lightsaber. That one was awesome,
That is such a good
very
choice.
awesome.
Good job, bro.
But yeah, so yeah, he was really good. They talked about Hannah Waddingham. I thought I could see her being like Solandra Show, possibly give her some dark hair, give her that
Oh my
shield,
god,
you know.
I
But
would
yeah, it was,
love to
and
see
this of
someone
course
like
has
that.
sparked him to. Yes, I would love to see any of this High Republic stuff come to life, you know. So, but um, yeah, this started a whole conversation, and I guess the last thing, we're talking about famous people being in Star Wars, and someone on that Facebook group did bring up a really good point. He says, "How about we let some new actors, some undiscovered talent, be in Star Wars?" And
And
that
that's
used to be the norm, right? That's what everyone talked about.
yeah. That isn't that usually how it is?
But
Star Wars doesn't like big name actors already. So all of these people that we've said are probably already on the cut list. But our Star Wars movies would be good. Don't worry,
yeah,
guys. Don't worry, guys. I'm on your guys' side.
yeah. I don't think that you should knock. Like, I'm curious, like Jude Law in Skeleton Crew. Is that going
Yeah.
to take me out of it because it's Jude Law? I mean, I don't want to get
Jude Law
negative,
looking like
but
Jude
how did
Law.
you feel when you saw? How did you? Yeah, I'm sure. How did you feel when you saw Jack Black and was it Lizzo show up in
uh,
Mando? Did it take you out of it?
it kind of did because you're like, oh, it's Jack Black. Like you're not like going with the flow of like Mando and Grogu, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Jack Black, Lizzo, and it's like, oh, look at her hair. It's like, wow, look, and then you're thinking about their costumes, and then you're thinking about, you actually kind of have the same beard that he has in it, like the same colors,
Well,
in that
his is a
episode.
little puffier, I think. Yeah.
That's true. His is more like.
Yes, Taylor. I have gray hair in my beard. I get it. I'm
I
almost
have gray
50. It's
hair on my
fine.
head, so it's fine. I have gray hair in my head, but I get that from my daughter. So you get it from your dog.
So yeah, yeah. I guess I can see that too because I was kind of taken out of it. Jack Black, and I don't want to back. I love Jack Black. Don't get me wrong. I
Me
didn't know who
too.
Lizzo was. My wife's like, "Oh, that's Lizzo." I'm like, "Who?" I love
Yeah.
Jack Black. It took me out of it. I just kept waiting for him to like be like, just kind of break into like one of his random like insane characters or something. So I was really proud
School
of
of
him for
Rock.
holding it together for the whole episode. Yeah, but
You can't
I,
get
I thought
away with the
and I can't.
band.
Yeah, I can't find the guy's name that suggested this on that Facebook group, but I think there's something to be said about new actors coming in. There's no preconceived notions. There's no, you know, give them a chance. Like Daisy Ridley. I mean, I think I wasn't a huge fan of her the first movies, and I think the movies kind of maybe go downhill a little bit or go down and back up. But she got
Mhm.
better, I thought. Like she
Yeah.
improved as an actor every time. So I mean, who knows? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. No, well, she was in a few indie movies, and then I think there was like a really
Was she?
risque one that she was in. Yeah. We won't get into that on our family friendly show.
No.
Um, but yeah, she did start in some indie movies. Oh yeah, it wasn't even risky. It was, now that I'm thinking about it, it was like she was a corpse in like something, but she had no clothes on, but she was a
Oh
corpse.
dear.
Poor Daisy
That's not
Ridley.
good.
But now look at her. So, and she's coming back for some more, um, the new Jedi Order, and I'm looking forward to it, guys. Hate me if you want, but it's new Star Wars, and I'm looking forward to it. So, I love
Absolutely.
Daisy. Yeah, I love
Absolutely.
Daisy. So, how's your Shadow the Sith book coming along? I haven't heard any posts about it. You haven't even talked about
Oh,
it.
I'm struggling. I like the book, which is weird. I know this is kind of off topic for us, but um, I really like the book. I think it's written well.
Hmm.
I cannot get into it. Like when I'm reading it, the action, the story, I'm like, yeah, 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 but I'm not finding time to sit down and read it, which I don't understand. Like, and that sounds like it's not a good book. I think it's a very good book so far. Like I said, like, on this part where Lando and Luke are chasing, um, these people to another planet, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. There's new speeder bikes. There's all this action, and
Yeah.
but then I'm like, oh, okay, and I'm off. I also, we're gearing up to get back to school, and I think sometimes that takes precedent. But
Hmm.
I will finish that book so I can read what you've just finished.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just finished Star Wars Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade. And oh my goodness, it is so good. I was not expecting it to be as entwined in the story as it is. And I know I've talked to some people that don't like it when new books and stuff have these characters like, oh, it just happens to be my friend, or oh, I just happen to be in the exact same hangar. Or like some people don't really like that. I like connectability as long as it's like not too crazy. But this book has so much connectability to the prequel trilogy. Obviously, it gets right into the Inquisitors stuff, like the Inquisitorius. It goes right to it, and I think it's important to read that book before Ahsoka comes out because then you kind of understand the
Oh,
Inquisitor that's in the trailer, which we still don't know who that is, but I know more about the Inquisitors from this book. It's literally the Inquisitor talking about her experience being in
going
the
through it.
Inquisitorius. Yeah, like it's
I
not
need to
it's
get I
not
need to get
from.
on that.
It's so good. At the party last night, I got like 3 people to buy it on Audible. I was like, "Do it right now! You
Nice.
won't regret it. You
Well,
won't
I
regret
definitely have it.
it."
I have it in my Amazon cart, so we'll have to order that. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think pay tune in next week and see if I've actually finished the book.
yeah.
So, but if we didn't read your comments, or if you have comments, you have questions, or you have actors or actresses or actors or people you want to play, or a character you want to see live, please hit us up on our socials. Everything is at Explore the Force. You can
Yeah,
email us at exploretheforce@gmail.com. Send us a voice note. Send us send us a little email. We'll read it off on the air. We'd
family
love to
friendly.
hear what you guys think, even if it's about something we've talked about 3 episodes ago and you just listened to it for the first time. Let us know. We'll start a chat. Join our Facebook group, like Taylor talked about. We have
Yeah,
some good chats there. But I think
yeah.
that's Taylor. What do you got for
Well,
us?
if you guys have any suggestions on what we should talk about on our episodes, let us know because this episode about the actors and the characters came from you guys. So we want to hear more from you guys because this is why we started this podcast was so that we could talk to people about Star Wars that we can't reach right around here. So we're reaching out to you guys uh, to chat with us, explore with us. Well, guys, I think that's it for this week. For light and life.
All right, and for me, Taylor, and Jack. Our hearts and our thoughts are going with Jack and his family right now. We have spoken.
See you next week, guys. Get in your comments.